What's up, Game Boys and Girls? Big T here, back with another video, and this video is probably going to be a little bit disorganized because I'm doing a video basically talking about the recent Xbox showcase, but I didn't want to do like a typical let's go by down the games and what I thought was cool, what I liked. I wanted to like incorporate my gaming history into it, and I'm kind of trying to do that more in videos that I make to make it more motivating for me because I'm losing motivation when it comes to like doing just kind of what do they call it, like current events type video game stuff. What was the announcement type of stuff. And I feel if I'm going to do that, I wanted to add my own twist onto it, because usually when these types of things happen, people will watch multiple people's reaction. And like if everybody's kind of talking about the same, then I think to me that's boring. I'm probably overthinking it because people just like to hear people that they like's different takes on stuff or that kind of thing. But I wanted to incorporate my own flavor into it. So yeah, this video might be kind of long, and I don't know if it's gonna work. We're gonna see if it happens or not. So the event happened this past Sunday. It was pretty fantastic as far as the variety specifically, and the idea of the variety is kind of what make sure this thing's kind of what pushed me to make this type of video, because I wanted to like incorporate like the variety of stuff that I like to play and why I thought it worked very well. I think for most people there would be something in there that you're gonna like. For me, it was multiple things. I think the only genres that didn't really get covered was like superhero games or sports titles, racing, that kind of stuff. It would have been nice to see a racer in there, unless I'm forgetting one. I don't think there was one. But I'm not going to touch over every game. But I think Microsoft said they showed off 30 games. 17 of them were, or 18 of them were first party, and 17 of them will be in Game Pass day one, which is weird. I think they said most of the. Maybe I have that backwards. I know because every game that's first party is coming to Game Pass day one, so I might be off on the last little description there. But anyway, I'm trying to keep this thing from turning off on me. Just to keep the games in mind, so I can, because I have a bunch of games around me, and so I'm going to talk about the event based on and incorporate the games that I have here to around me. So to talk about. All right. So first, I'm going to talk about probably one of my games I care about the least. This game is making a return. Remake. I'm about to say remaster, a remake of this, and it looked really good. I try to get into Metal Gear. I probably have most of the games, if not all of them. I think I have every Metal Gear game because I end up buying it at some point, and I just can never get into the series. My son, who's 14 now, beat Metal Gear before I did any of the Metal Gear games. So, and it was this one. This is the one he beat, but he beat it on 3DS. Metal Gear Solid 3D, something like that, I guess. But yeah, so it's cool. I just thought it was weird that this game showed up for Microsoft's conference. I mean, they revealed it on PlayStations, but the actual gameplay blowout happened at a Microsoft event, which I thought was kind of weird. But there's that. Let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and knock those bad boys out. Obviously, the show ended with, this is not in any order. The show ended with Gears of War. And as you can see here, I am a Gears fan. I do have 5. I just couldn't find it. The disc is in my sleeve, or I have like a, what do you call those things? Like a notebook that has a bunch of games, just the games themselves, just out of the disc, out of the box. But I couldn't find the case, so just imagine 5 is here as well. So I'm a Gears fan. I've beat them all, except for Judgment. I played Judgment for a while, and it sucked. I mean, it was pretty bad, and I just kind of gave up on it. I mean, it's not a bad game, but it is a to me it's a bad Gears game. It was just boring, and I pieced out. But yeah, there was a little kerfuffle about whether the footage shown was CG or not. It's not CG. It's in game using in game textures and whatnot. I think Jeff Keighley put that out, and he got kind of smacked down by the developers, saying, "No, you're diminishing what that what we showed." I mean, it's kind of fair, the way he worded it, because it's like nobody knew. It wasn't like it was your typical Gears camera, so it didn't look like it wasn't gameplay. But I'm pretty sure it's probably a pretty good representation of what the game's gonna look like. Maybe a little less detailed, but it'll probably be that as far as the textures and the characters and all that stuff looks. But yeah, so a lot of nostalgia with that, and part of that is part of me talking about nostalgia is what this video is about. Is that Microsoft brought some nostalgia, which is something they don't really do, rarely do. As you, I'm hinting to something later. Yeah, they rarely do the nostalgia thing, and I think that was really good. It even used the Mad World song in the background. If that's how Gears was introduced on commercials. Was with Mad World. It was a fantastic commercial. I remember it's like burned in my skull. So they did a really good job with that, and the game looks like it's returning to the original story, the original characters, and that's cool. I think that's a lot of fans seem to be happy about that. Again, I'm a Gears fan. I'm not like a mega fan or anything, but I'm trying to get my games list up here because my phone goes to sleep and I have to get back in there. Yeah, so I mean it's pretty cool. It looked like it was like what the fans really wanted, so that's cool. All right, so now let's move on to I think the game was called what was it called? Something 33, Expedition 33, which really got me excited because it looked like a big major release. I don't know if it's AAA or not, but it looked like a AAA game, and it was it's an RPG, like with traditional turn based. I'm sure there's some variation there, but I thought that was really cool. So I brought some games that, remember that big RPGs can be turn based to this day, even though this series pretty much turned away from that. This is Final Fantasy 12. Not sure if I finished this or not. I feel like I did. Some other ones I'm showing off too, I guess. But these are obviously older games. Here's the Breath of Fire series on PlayStation 3 and 4. I think these are expensive now. I'm not sure. And a couple of Xbox 360 games that were pretty big deals at the time. Infinite, how am I saying it? I always say it wrong because it's a weird. Infinite Undiscovery. It's not a word. Infinite Undiscovery, which was a major. This is one of the initiative games that Xbox put out to show Japanese the Japanese market that they were serious about trying to permeate and getting through to that market. And also this one is with X Square Enix developers, X Square developers, Lost Odyssey, X Final Fantasy developers. I feel like Sakaguchi had something. I think he was the director on this, if I'm not wrong. Does it say on the back? I feel like he is. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, it's nice to see major RPGs, Japanese RPGs with turn-based mechanics. We can still do that, and that's pretty cool that that's happening with a game like Expedition 33. I'm not sure I love the name Expedition. I understand what the concept of it is, but maybe spruce up the name a little bit. All right, let's see. Let's go based on games here. Okay, so there was Wu Chang. I don't know if this really ties into that or not. And I think at the what was it, State of Play? Not State of Play. Summer Game. Well, yeah, State of Play too. In Summer Games Fest, there's like, it seems like there's more and more like samurai games or ninja games and whatnot. and I actually think that's cool. I hope it doesn't like we get too many and we're just oversaturated again. But because I had the feels for games like Tenchu and Tenchu 2 Stealth Assassins. I think the closest to that we're gonna get is actually the new Assassin's Creed game. When you play as the female character, she's a ninja and she does more stealth stuff. I gotta remember these characters' names, but yeah, it's really I think it's cool to see that. I think as long as you don't oversaturate it and people get tired of it, we don't want that. But it's cool to see these types of games again. All right, yeah, let's go ahead and do this one. All right, so I was trying to remember, I couldn't at the time. I think we did it in the Juices Loose podcast. What Mecha Break is it? Mecha Break or Mech Break? Yeah, it's Mecha Break. I have to zoom in on my picture here. And I saw it and I immediately thought of the game, but I said it wrong in the podcast. I think I said something about Gundam or something like that, but it was specifically Robotech, Robotech for GameCube. I think this is on PS2 as well, maybe even Xbox. But I remember I used to play the crap out of this game. I loved this game a lot. I wasn't even really into Robotech. I think wasn't it an animated series or something? But I really like this game. I think the graphics are really good. The controls are beautiful. And when I saw Mecha Break, it made me think of this game here. Let's see if you can get a good look at it there. You may or may not have played it, or I'm sure you probably know what Robotech is. Most of you guys probably know what Robotech is, but yeah, it made me think of that. Some people said it made them think of the Switch game that eventually came out on other systems, I think. This game, Damon X Machina, and this is the big stupid throw your money away edition. But it's cool. It came with a cool statue, a steel book, and a art book. So it's really cool. And this was only released in Europe, I believe, the Europe region. Yeah, so I had to pay a little extra to get this bad boy shipped over. I'm not sure if this is the one that my boy Clocked It helped me with. I think so. I think this is the one that he helped me get. But I really wanted that statue, and it's awesome. So, but yeah, that's what Mecha Break made me think of. And I didn't really bring any of these, so I'm just going to move on to what is it? South of Midnight, which was intriguing from the first trailer, but they didn't really show, what the gameplay was. And we got to look at the gameplay, and I'm very excited for it. It might be underwhelming for some people, but for me, it looked really cool. I was worried about the animation style being too jarring, but I loved it. It worked for me, especially when they started showing you in-game real-time gameplay stuff. One of the things that really got me was the voice acting work was really good. I thought it was authentic to the region, which is Nolans, the Creole aesthetic to it. I thought it looked great, and it reminded me gameplay wise of this game, which I really love. Kena, Bridge of Spirits. And if you played this game, I think they just released this on Xbox because this was a PlayStation exclusive, PlayStation and PC. I actually played it on PC initially, played it on Steam, and I went and got the disc because that's what I do. If the disc is available, if I buy a Steam game, I'll get it eventually. It's a little bit more money, but I like having the the disc or the medium. Why can't I think right now? It's called physical media. So when I can do that for Steam games, that's what I'll do. I'll make sure I get the physical media of it. And yeah, I love Kenna's art style. I loved its gameplay, and if South of Midnight is anything like that, which it does look like it is, I'm all for that. So, yep, there you go. All right, and then let's see, what is this little grouping here supposed to represent? Okay, these two clearly. I mean, everybody's a fan of Doom to some extent. I think if you're a gamer and you've been around a few decades, you love you some Doom. So obviously they showed Doom, the what it's called, the Dark Ages. That was rumored ahead of time, so it was kind of spoiled in a way. But it always seemed really cool. Like the concept, they just had the concept that it was going to be in the Middle Ages and the time period. And people were worried, are they going to have guns? Is it going to be like you with an axe and all this kind of... No, guns are still here. And really interesting looking guns, like the gun that crushes skulls into like basically smaller little projectiles and blasts people with, or blast demons with. Fantastic. You get a shield that it's kind of like the Rygar shield. You throw it and it has like blades on it. Game looks amazing. And so I had a couple of games here. I have more Doom games. I just grabbed what I could. I don't want to spend too much. I was spending way too much time like trying to find games to represent, the showcase and whatnot. So obviously Doom VFR. I have Doom 2016 on Switch actually, and then I wanted to get the VR version because I'm a VR fan. And obviously this is Doom 3. This is the BFG edition because the original Doom 3 was like super dark. Like, I don't mean like dark as in feel, but dark as in you can't see shit. And it was hard to see. And this is the one they added they gave you a light. And they kind of brought it up a little bit brightness wise. Because it was a very dark and looking game. Not like a dark, or scary, but it's that too. But it's hard to see stuff. And there goes my list again. I have to keep doing this over and over again. All right, what's next? Yeah, I guess we can go ahead and knock this one out. Now, we saw this game before. I feel like for some reason they got mixed reaction. I don't know. I guess because it was, in first person. And I got this stack here to represent the fact that I am a huge Indiana Jones fan. There you go, Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine. For the N64. This is actually, I know this is expensive, especially if you have it in box. I don't. I think, but just the card itself is over $150 because this was rare. I think they only sold this at Blockbuster. You could only rent it or you could only buy it at Blockbuster, something like that. And Blockbuster Games, for those who know, Blockbuster also had a EB Games type of store or Electronics Boutique or GameStop type of store. It was only for selling video games, and it was called Blockbuster Games. There probably weren't a ton of locations, but I was in a big city, so they had one in the mall, and I think I probably bought this there, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it was very limited. It was end of the N64 life cycle, and they didn't do a whole lot of copies. And then this is an underrated Wii game. Wii is just underrated as well. And I'm doing a video on Wii very soon. I already did it. I just have to edit it. But yeah, this game is actually a lot of fun. Because this is what I thought of when I thought of the first person perspective of Indiana Jones, is that you are Indiana Jones. You're not just controlling him, but you are him. And this game at times make you feel like I'm Indiana Jones. I'm, just think about it. I'm slashing with the whip. I'm, aiming with his pistol, and just, it makes you feel like you're in the game. You are Indy. So that's what the first person perspective is going to do for the Indy game. And I just brought, just to let you know, I'm a Indy fan. I got multiple disc sets. I just got this one recently on Blu-ray. I think it's Blu-ray. Maybe it's 4K. Does it say? No, it's just Blu-ray. All right. Yeah, so huge Indie fan. And for me, because some people have said that they didn't show enough gameplay of it. As long as the gameplay is good, I'm not overly concerned with that. My biggest concern being an indie fan is, does this feel like indie? Obviously they're with these older games. Oh, I forgot one, because I also had a PC and I ended up buying it on PC as well. Yeah, this is one of the few PC big box games I still have. But I love this game. I love Infernal Machine. I never beat it because I got to the end. Actually, I don't know which one I bought first. I probably bought this second. I got to the end to the Infernal Machine, and I'm not gonna spoil it, even though the game is 25 years old. And it glitched out on me. Like I got stuck in the Infernal Machine, and I couldn't get out, and I couldn't go back to an older save. It was something weird. Something weird really happened in that. Something really weird happened, I should say, and messed up my gameplay. And I just kind of gave up because it took a lot to get there. This game is pretty tough. Most Indiana Game Jones, Indiana Jones games are tough, and Infernal Machine is no exception. So once I got to that section, I was like, oh my god, I couldn't go back. I couldn't open another different save. Every time I couldn't die. I was just like stuck and floating in a wall, and I just couldn't get out of it, and I just never beat it. So my goal is to beat that game. But yeah, so Indiana Jones. So then they showed. Well, then again, I'm not doing this in order, but just to talk about variety, and you've already seen a bunch of different types of games already. I'm gonna kind of lump these together. Let's see, Age of Mythology, Diablo, and Avowed. So the games I have representing the. Actually, I guess I can throw this in too. Dragon Age. Which one was it? Yeah, Dragon Age Veilguard. So I'll just put all these together because they're all fantasy, action, adventure games, and I actually have Dragon Age Inquisition here. Beat that game, loved it. Dragon Age Origins, I really like this one, which led me to check out because this is before, obviously. Dragon Age Inquisition is the last one, and this is not part of that, so I'm going to save that for a second. So yeah, so if you throw in Avowed and whatnot, and Dragon Age Inquisition and Age of Mythology is different. I think it's more in line with this game, but yeah, Skyrim. Obviously, this is one of the 20 versions of Skyrim I own. Fantastic. But yeah, it's cool to have that variety as well. I mean, there's a ton of fantasy adventure games now, and it's cool to see. Again, it's kind of nostalgia because they brought back, and it's not Microsoft. This is just EA, but they brought back Dragon Age. I'm not a huge fan of how it looks because these Dragon Age Inquisition and Origins have a more, and that's why I had this together. Art style wise, are closer to like a Skyrim or a Dragon's Dogma, and this one seemed closer to like more like an Avowed or even like another game that they showed, World of Warcraft, because they showed the expansion they're dropping. So it's kind of a more lighter tone, which is fine, but it's a little jarring for me because it seemed like it tried to be more realistic in the original versions of the games. So that was a little weird. But then I said, well, Age of Mythology. And I just kind of threw this in Heroes of Ruin because it's not, because Age of Mythology, I believe that is a strategy RTS. And this is more like Diablo, Heroes of Ruin, which is one of my favorite. I just like to big this game up any chance I can. It's one of my favorite 3DS games. It was really cool. It had voice chat. I remember I didn't really know what I was doing, and I jumped in, and somebody was really helpful. So as far as showing me how the game works and the mechanics and stuff, I just remember that, and that's one of the sad things about us losing the online for 3DS. But hopefully, I don't know. I haven't tried this game because they have Pretendo Network now. I don't know if this game is supported by Pretendo Network or not. But if it was, that'd be great because it had some cool features, that game. And so, yeah, this is going to be part of this little grouping here. So I'll save that for a second. And obviously the big game, for Microsoft and just for gamers in general, because it's the biggest game today, I believe, it's Call of Duty. So the Call of Duty series, and this one looks like a really good one, especially with from what they're saying about the campaign of the game, which a lot of people don't care about, but I like playing Call of Duty campaigns. I think they're really good, kind of like quick, 7 to 9 hour, maybe not even that long, just first person action games. The scripting, the way the games play out, the balance and all that stuff. I think is really good, and a lot of them, not all of them. But yeah, I just brought like my Call of Duty on Wii, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and we have Modern Warfare 3. I have all of them, Modern Warfare games on Wii. All the Call of Duty games on Wii, I have them all. There's Call of Duty 3. And here is Black Ops and Black Ops 2 for Wii U. But I'm not big into like the multiplayer, like competitive side of it, but I think I like the occasionally I like to play through the campaigns, which I know a lot of people don't really care that much about. And there goes my list again. Let's see. All right. So there's other cool games. I didn't really bring any representation for those, but like Mixtape, that covered kind of the artsier, fartsier stuff. But it looked cool. I mean, I like the fact that you're using '80s music tracks that I really liked, growing up. And they also had like Life is Strange. What was the subtitle? Double Exposure. I keep telling myself I'm going to get into those games because they're kind of my type of game. They're the type of games I would play on PC back in the day a lot, and I just haven't gotten into it. I have a lot of them, the Life is Strange games. I just haven't gotten into them for whatever reason. World of Warcraft, like I said, Elder Scrolls Gold Road they showed. Frag Punk looked pretty cool, which is weird to say because what's the Sony game that's a hero shooter? But this one had like a cool new mechanic. That's what you got to do. You can't just make a typical hero shooter in 2024 and think people are going to be excited. Was it Concord? I have nothing against the game. It's just I feel like it's 4 or 5 years too late. But that's how long it takes to make a game like that. So when when they started making it, that type of game was a lot more relevant, and it still is. There's still people who play what is it called, Overwatch. There's people who play what's that one I was playing for a while. I had a lot of fun with on Switch. But they're free to play. Concord costs money, and I don't know what they're gonna do when it comes to Frag Punk. But at least it has a cool new mechanic with the cards, and it seemed pretty interesting. I don't know if it'll be something I actually play, but it looked like it was more interesting to me. And they showed State of Decay 3. I also left out Fable when I showed the fantasy stuff. Fable looks really good, fantastic. I forgot to bring Fable games with me. I have 1, 2, and 3. 2 is my favorite. 3 is probably my least favorite. It's not bad, but it's probably my least favorite. But I'm just happy to see Fable come back. It's a cool series, and it's a twist on it this time. It's not like the old games exactly. It does have that kind of feel though, because nobody really talks about Fable in that light, whereas like the humor of it, but it is a light-hearted kind of fantasy game, and they look like Playground Games have gone really far into that kind of stuff, the more whimsical, comedic stuff, which is cool. I'm down for that. Stalker 2 got another showing. It's actually got a release date, which is cool. Blessings go to those developers. What they're going through, I can't imagine the Ukraine developers, what they've been going through over the last couple of years. So shout outs to them and actually finishing the game and having a release date, which is very cool. I didn't bring representation for this for some reason because I have multiple representation, but Starfield Shattered Space, fantastic. Starfield is my favorite game this generation. I have about 300 hours in it at this point, somewhere around there, maybe 280-ish. and it's a game I'm going to be playing. I say it all the time for probably 10 years or more, especially now that they dropped the creation kit and there's all these cool mods, community mods and whatnot. There's some paid stuff as well, which I'll dive into on occasion once I get through the. I haven't even got through the main game yet, but I've spent almost 300 hours in it. But it's that kind of game where you just start to do something and you get lost and you get veered off and you join like 10 factions and you're doing multiple different faction things and you're leveling up. And I love this game. It's like I said, this is my game of the generation. And it just got better. They dropped a patch for 60 frames, which makes the game so much better, smoother, buttery smooth. It still stutters on occasion, but it's pretty rare. But just the variety, the amount of variety in that game alone, and just thinking about people who are talking about they're going to take entire planets and just build an entire game on that planet with a bunch of quest lines and cities, and that's why I say I'm going to be playing this game for at least 10 years. And it's going to open up. I think it's going to be a platform. Starfield will be a platform. They'll probably add multiplayer to it at some point. I think they'd be crazy not to. They're going to add some kind of multiplayer into the game at some point. This game, it's going to end up, it's probably, going to end up on PlayStation and whatnot too. I think it's stupid for them not to do it. Certain PlayStation gamers, pretended that the game sucked. It was so terrible they never played it, but it's horrible. It's a terrible game. But put that bad boy on PlayStation, and I bet you it'll sell gangbusters. And I'm sure Microsoft will put it on PlayStation at some point. But yeah, the creation kit is opening up so much more. Obviously, the DLC Shattered Space is coming, but there's so much stuff to do in this game. So many factions, so many side quests, bananas side quests. There was one side quest. It wasn't really a side quest. I was just like having a conversation with this kid on Mars. I forget the colony's name on Mars, and it didn't lead to anything. Like I didn't get gear, or I just kind of did stuff for the kid and hung out with him, and he talked about his mom and how tough it was for him. Like it feels like I'm living in the world, and that is why this game is so cool to me. It feels like I'm living in this world. I want to be a part of this world where you just hop in a spaceship and jump to planets, and it's cool. Grab jump, that's what they call it. And just jump around and do different things and see different types of people. It is fantastic. The variety is insane in the game. They're gonna add land vehicles, which is gonna just blow the game open even more. I mean, it's gonna be crazy with the mods and stuff. Some people are. I heard some guy talking about he's gonna build Coruscant from Star Wars. I saw like a Batman suit skin already, and that one was free. I'm gonna grab that. This game is. I got pizza in my mouth. Sorry. This game is going to be insane. It already is insane, but it's going to get even way crazier. So I'm looking forward to it, man. Yeah, Starfield, for me, game of the generation so far. And for some reason, a lot of people didn't think this game was gonna be there, or they were surprised. I'll say they were surprised, and I totally expected this game to show up. I don't know, I just did. It was time. I felt like it was time. If I felt like if Microsoft were really gonna have a good show, which I felt like they had to have a good show going in, that it was time to show this game. And this game is Perfect Dark, the reimagining of Perfect Dark. This is not just one of my favorite N64 games, but one of my all-time favorite games. And it's funny because Rare never really gets talked about as making games that are tougher. Pretty much all of Rare games on the I guess you can go back to Super Nintendo too, because those were hard games as well. But on the N64, these were all tough games, and Perfect Dark was tough. I only beat it on the regular agent mode, and I've always planned on going back and beating it again. But this game was freaking amazing when it came out, and it was amazing that it came out amazing because you know the story behind this. Most of the team, or a big chunk of the team, left midway. I think they had some kind of spout with the two owners, two leaders, the Stamper brothers, I think they're called. They just kind of took off, and the fact that this game came out and came out fantastic is crazy. Those guys went on to form Free Radical Design, which made Time Splitters, the Time Splitters games, and those are stuck with Embracer Group currently, sadly. They were supposed to do a reboot of that too, but that's probably not going to happen now. But yeah, Perfect Dark, like I said, one of my favorite games. One of the best looking N64 games as well. Rare was always pushing the heck out of Nintendo's hardware beyond its limits because you get some choppy frame rates, but at the time it didn't bother me as much. Still doesn't, because that's what I was used to. And when I go back and play this game, and then you have, I'm a Perfect Dark fan. This is Perfect Dark for Game Boy, and it has a weird look to it. If you look at it, this is a battery compartment for you to put a AAA game or a AAA battery in AAA, because this cart has rumble capability. So you get hit just like the N64 version, which has the rumble pack. Uh, for when you get hit. Why can't I close this? I'll do it later. Yeah, and that was a really cool, innovative thing for the Game Boy to have a cartridge that rumbles. They went on to do that again, I think, with for a DS game, and the rumble pack went into the Game Boy Advance cartridge slot, and that's the only way you can get rumble. Was on the Game Boy or on the DS Lite. The both DSs. That was the last one though. You couldn't do it on 3DS, so you couldn't do backwards compatible games with that. But yeah, and then we have Microsoft's Perfect Dark. I think technically this did start as a GameCube game, but obviously Microsoft bought them pretty quickly after the GameCube launched, and this is the steel book version with a nice sliding cover there. And this game isn't great. This was a launch title for the 360, and it needed another year. It was a little jank. The AI was weird. I didn't really like the character models in this either. It went goofy, and there is some goofiness to Perfect Dark on N64, but this game, was very much like Blade Runner. It felt like it was set in Blade Runner world, and it was more serious. Obviously, there's a great alien running around named Elvis, so it still had Rare's humor in it. But I felt like it was more in line with GoldenEye than something really goofy. And I brought this series because I think this series is a direct influence on the direction for the new Perfect Dark, and I'm all for that because I'm a fan of Deus Ex, starting on the original one on PC, and then also I feel like these games are an influence with the parkour elements. So you have parkour mixed in with gunplay from Deus Ex. You have parkour of Mirror's Edge and Catalyst mixed in with the gunplay and the kind of gadgetry of Deus Ex. That's just gonna be, it's right up my alley. That's fantastic to me, and that coupled with the fact that it's a game series that I love, and then they're gonna do they're gonna add influences from another game or another couple of game series that I love. Fantastic. Oh, by the way, I did put this here for a specific reason because this is another game that I have to big up every time I get a chance. Specifically the Wii U version, because it was an enhanced version over the PS3 360. and the gamepad stuff was so cool. Some of the stuff you can still do, you can utilize with the gamepad, but there was other things in this game that are no longer available. Let me see if they have stuff on the back. Yeah, it's like overhauled boss fights, deeper and more robust combat system. The neural hub control augmentation, perform hacking directly on the Wii U gamepad. Obviously, that was something that was supposed to be a big thing for the Wii U gamepad. In something called Watch Dogs specifically as well. But there was some cool Miiverse stuff in this game as well that I liked. So yeah, I'm super excited that they're melding these games that I like together to make this new iteration of Perfect Dark. The game looked great. So yeah, that's my take. If I'm gonna give the show a grade, it's an A. What only the thing that would have made it an A plus is like Banjo. If Banjo showed up in some capacity, it'd have been an A plus across the board. But it was an A, A minus type of show for me. Fantastic. And again, the variety. I just showed you a bunch of games that spoke to the variety of that show, and they did great. So, yep, that's my video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Did you like this type of video, or did you just want to hear me talk, about the game specifically and go down a list and say blah blah blah, or did you like this idea of adding this? The thing that sucks about this is now I got to pull all these games back, and they're pretty organized. And I go and I start pulling these games out, and it's just like, oh no, now I got to put them back. That's the sucky part. But yeah, that's my video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you again for watching and listening, and I'll see you fools next time. Peace out.